great Let's Ride to Work program. We're still in our pilot phase of the program, but we definitely would like for everyone to learn more about the program. So you can start sending over your folks, and we can kind of collaborate with our folks getting jobs as well as them getting this great opportunity of a ride. So I'm gonna get my PowerPoint going. Let's get my PowerPoint out. Let's see what's going on.
It came up, Nikki, and then it clicked off.
Then it clicked off. Okay, so let's try it again. Can you guys see it now?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, I can't see it.
Did you change the view?
Let's see. And we literally test this out.
She's sharing her screen.
That's okay.
Miss Nikki, are you sharing your screen?
Yes, it says that I'm sharing the
You
power.
are. We see it.
We can see it.
Do you want me to bring it up, Nikki? See if it
Yes,
works on
if
my
you
side.
could, John, because I can't see it on my end.
Folks, see that okay?
Yes. Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
You want to kick it off?
John. Yep, you can take the lead and I'll follow.
Sure. So howdy, folks. Nikki's already introduced the idea. We're going to talk about the Let's Ride to Work program. I'm here just to jump on a soapbox and hop off while Nikki talks about doing the actual work. So let's get started. Just want to introduce a problem here. As you guys know, that's probably not this surprising, commutes to jobs are long. In fact, in Baltimore City, only about in the Baltimore metropolitan area, only about 8.5% of jobs are accessible within 60 minutes using public transit. So for lots of folks who rely on that, they have to take even longer every day just to get to work. Another problem is that, for folks who want to show up and be competent employees, the first thing everybody thinks about is punctuality. But the problem is that buses are often late. Here you can see that this is the historical rate of on-time performance for Baltimore area buses. And as you can see, even now when ridership is at all-time lows, it's still only hitting about, 3 and 4 buses are on time. If I have 3 transfers, in order to get to where I got to go, imagine that, basically it's more likely than not that one of my buses is going to show up late. And if that's in the middle of my transfers, then I might be late for the next bus and will be even later. So this forces people who already have to take about an hour to get to work to have to go even earlier if they just want to reliably show up on time. So cars are the obvious, solution to the problem, but these are expensive, and especially for Baltimoreans. So as you all may know, the cost of lots of things are going up, cars especially. The cost of a new car has increased by 13%, and when new car costs increase, used car costs also increase, and that's over just the past year. Another thing to know is that in Baltimore specifically, your insurance can be set based on a number of factors, so your car insurance rates, and it is legally required for everybody in Maryland to have car insurance rates, the penalty of a fine and prison time. So in Baltimore area, majority black zip codes paid 94% more than majority white zip codes. So just want to say it again. These are the same general area, right? You could be one zip code over, and majority black zip codes paid 94% more than majority white zip codes for car insurance. My own experience, I moved from Barclay to Hamden, and my car insurance dropped literally by probably 75%. And I moved less than a mile away from where I started. So these kinds of things obviously make car ownership particularly hard for Black folks. Additionally, Baltimore drivers with low credit scores could pay more than 171% more than drivers with good credit scores. So same person, same driving record, same location, same all of the factors, just having a low credit score means that you can pay up to 171% more for your car insurance, right? Which is wild when you think about it, but these are the kinds of things that car insurance can be set on. And if somebody who has, a low income, hasn't had access to historical wealth, generational wealth over many generations, whatever it may be, their credit score is more likely to be lower just because they have to rely on credit in order to make ends meet. So obviously car ownership then, when you add in the cost of gas too, it's expensive for everybody. It's especially expensive for folks without a lot of money and folks who are Black. And so, these are problems that need to be resolved. And if I don't have a job and if I don't have an income to start with, then it's going to be very hard for me to get a car. Go ahead, Nikki.
So with all of that data and the problems, then we get to the Let's Ride to Work program. And that data basically shows us why we actually need the program to help solve just a little portion of that problem or start to work on it. This is the background of the program. It's an initiative that's still in the pilot phase of the Baltimore's COVID-19 employment recovery strategy. We received ARPA funds basically to help with the transportation barriers here within the city. Of course, thousands of the residents, which are particularly Black and brown folks, have been shut out from employment opportunities because of the system's failure to invest in communities of color and to provide a reliable, affordable way to get to and from work. So for our folks that live in the city who gain employment or who are looking to gain employment, it could be a little bit intimidating to gain employment across another side of town where you have never traveled there before, or you're taking 2 and 3 buses on top of learning, going through orientation for your new job. So that could be overwhelming. So, this program will actually lift a little of that weight the first month or so of someone gaining employment. Next slide, John. This is a quick overview. As mentioned, LRTW is funded by the American Rescue Plan Act, also known as ARPA. The LRTW is also a rideshare partnership with Lyft. So our participants literally have access door-to-door service. Lyft will pick them up from their home and take them directly to work, and then reverse that after work is over. We provide up to 40 rides to newly employed Baltimore City residents. And what I mean by newly employed is that within the first 2 weeks, a participant can have a referral submitted on their behalf, and we would still qualify them as newly employed because they have not received or shouldn't have received any type of pay or their first check as of yet. Also, participants can have a offer letter, and they can still qualify to have a referral submitted on their behalf. We provide 2 methods of transportation with Lyft. Concierge ride is basically what it sounds like. Clients are enrolled into the program, and then I actually go inside of our Lyft business portal and actually send out a link to the clients, putting all of their demographics, work, and home address, and actually call the ride for them. When they are ready to actually have their ride commenced, they just hit that link, and then voila, they'll receive their driver's information and the time of arrival or pickup. With the Lyft Pass, we normally don't enroll clients into the Lyft Pass until maybe after like a 3-day trial. In those 3 days, I kind of give them calls or send messages just to check up on them, see how their ride was, making sure that they call their ride early enough to get to work on time, asking, how was the traffic, things of that nature. Once they feel confident or they feel kind of okay with going into the Lyft Pass, which is basically all independent service. John and I, we still have monitoring capabilities, but their rides are actually via a normal Lyft app that like you and I can actually take. And with the Lyft Pass, they get maybe about 36 rides within the Lyft Pass. They go inside the app, they call their driver, they get to see the map, just as if you and I were taking the same Lyft ride. Next slide, please. Eligibility criteria. And we get asked this a lot, so I want to be very intentional about sharing our eligibility criteria and why we have these standards set at the current moment. Of course, we are servicing Baltimore City residents. They actually have to attest to being negatively impacted by COVID, whether it was a physical or a mental ailment, lost their job, lost their child care, something that says, hey, COVID negatively impacted me. And the way that I receive that information is via an AppRiver self-attestation that I kind of send over to the client. Once we get that, then we start the enrollment process. Having a job offer or newly employed in Baltimore City, and I kind of covered that, but as long as the start date hasn't surpassed 2 weeks, we're definitely willing to accept them and get them enrolled into the program. Having a stated transportation need, of course. What we found out is that some of our clients who come into the centers and they get assistance with gaining employment or they attend a job fair, but it's never really, the transportation piece is never really talked about. So that's kind of where teammates come in when you're having these conversations as like a CDF or BSR or even, a superior staff. When you're working with a client who is newly gained employment, you can say, hey, how do you plan on getting to and from work? And that could kind of garner the conversation to see whether or not, this will be a great benefit or asset to them. And of course, we are going to service someone who works at least 32 hours per week. Nope, you can go back forward. So making the connection between the MOAD agency or our partners yesterday, I did a presentation with the Train Up partners and it was great. So making the connection is what is actually going to get LRTW up and running. And that's kind of like where I need you guys to come in. Just to share the program, like I said, have those leading conversations, making sure transportation is not a barrier, for your clients or your participants. Currently, we are accepting referrals via the Unitas or KP tool, and we have our own organization build out. During the upswing of the pilot launch, we had an access point at Fayette Street. Although it's currently still inside of Unitas, we're asking staff members to kind of, start using the organization because eventually we want to move away from the access point and just have Let's Ride to Work as its own functional organization. When completing the referral, there is a ride share assessment, and this is the critical information that's needed for me to actually determine eligibility. And there's a few questions it'll ask, like, the client's start date, or if they have a future start date, their home address. Of course, it should be inside of within the geofence of Baltimore City. If you are unsure, you can actually still just put that address there. I don't mind going inside the map search just to confirm whether or not it's an actual Baltimore City residential address. It's also going to ask for the work or the employer's address, which also should be a Baltimore City address as well, and their email address and a current phone number. Those two items are definitely critical information, because once I receive a referral, I'm going to get the ball rolling, reaching out to the client, want to get the self-attestation done, and then giving them a phone call. And it's very important to confirm if they have an actual, if they have access to a smartphone or some type of data device, because that's how they will actually receive, the links from Lyft to kind of control their rides. MWE registered clients will have to be added to Unitas. We've received some phone calls, and I've kind of helped some staff navigate how to get their clients inside of Unitas. So for anyone who's using MWE, please call me or send me an email. I'm definitely always available to kind of help you navigate that so you can send the referral. Next slide, please. Now, this is where we get into the good stuff, the success stories. So Mr. Sky Weaver was actually our road test client. He was our first participant. Mr. Sky Weaver was justice involved for 12 years. He was released, and someone told him to go down to the South Baltimore Career Center. They were having a job fair construction. 2 weeks out of from being justice involved, Mr. Weaver went down. He was actually helped by our lovely staff, and he gained employment with M. Louise Construction. He was then told about the Let's Ride to Work program, and actually was brung to my office. First client, first person coming into the office. I was a little nervous, but I'm like, hey, let's road test this thing and see, what can happen. I will say Mr. Weaver has since purchased his own vehicle. He is no longer taking the Lyft rides. He is still actually working for M. Louise. And he's definitely been, a great success story that Let's Ride to Work, it actually works. I am very intentional with following up with the clients, making sure prior to their 40 rides has ended, which is about a month, just making sure that they have an action plan of what's going to be their next step. If they're going to be like Scott, he wanted to save money to actually purchase, a little used car for himself. There's others who I currently have who isn't interested in driving, but they want to save money so they can actually take the Lyft rides themselves. So this is something that I say to everyone across the agency. When you have clients, no matter what their story is, like, this could be their motivation to help them want to get a license or want to save up their money, to actually gain something of their own, and they don't have to worry about the dreadful Baltimore City transportation. Excuse me. Next slide, please. This is Miss Kalor West. She's actually one of our other success stories. She's currently still taking her 40 rides. Miss West attended one of our partner-oriented job fairs. She gained employment with the actual partner, and then she was connected with the Let's Ride to Work program, and we kind of got her set up. She was so excited because her first week of work, she was literally taking maybe like a 2.5 bus ride, which was end up being maybe about 3 buses. And she was just overwhelmed. She was going into like the Federal Hill area and coming from West Baltimore, where she resides, she's never, taken public transportation. So she was so focused on wanting to actually get to work on time. She was getting there like 45 minutes earlier than expected. And she talked about, when I did our interview, she shared like, she's normally like a person that can drink coffee in the morning and have her breakfast, but she couldn't do that. And then once she was connected to the Let's Ride to Work program, she had some form of normalcy in her day-to-day routine, because it saved her literally like an hour and 40 minutes of traveling just with partnering with the Let's Ride to Work program. And this was a quote that she actually came into the office. So she was there for another job fair with her actual employer, and her employer came and said, "Hey, Miss West is here and she wanted to meet you in person." So I was like, okay, of course. Like, I love meeting the clients in person. And she came and she just wanted to share how MOAD as an agency, has been a great impact. So thank you to everyone here. We are making an actual positive impact and a change in one's life. So if you never hear about all of these success stories, listen, I'll be the first to share. Clients are thrilled about what we're doing here. And, I'm just excited about this program and all the programs, about the economic justice that, we're doing here. Next slide. And that kind of closes out, the Let's Ride to Work program. Any questions, feedback, suggestions? I'm definitely looking forward to hearing from you guys. I see all the claps. Thank you guys, and hearts.
Good morning, Miss Nikki. My name is
Good
Selvina
morning.
Johnson. And with the rides, you said they can get up to 40 rides. What if they
Yes.
need the rides longer than that?
So currently, because we are an ARPA funded program, of course, we do have, strategic stipulations of how we want to best service a great quantity of folks. And because we're still in the pilot phase, we're able to grab data and kind of come to analytics to say, how can we kind of grow the program? So unfortunately, we are doing 40 rides, which kind of maxes out at maybe like a month, which garners maybe a typical job that actually pays bi-weekly. The participants can save up 2 paychecks basically to kind of help them navigate what's their next transportation method.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good
Thank you,
morning,
Ms.
this is
Warren.
Mildred.
Good
I just have
morning.
to, I love MOED. This is the first place I've ever worked that I actually can see what people are doing, and I keep up with you all the time. You all are doing a great job, and MOED is the best.
Yes. Listen, I second that notion. Any other questions? My email address will definitely be posted inside of the chat, as well as a survey. I'm stationed at the Northwest Career Center, but if you guys would ever like to have me come in person or kind of bombard your staff meetings, I kind of do that a lot. I like to share about the program. I'm always available. Please don't hesitate to reach out. I'll even help you guys navigate the referral process. There's been some, some tweaking with the United system, but I don't mind, helping get you guys access to such a great service. And thanks for
Nikki,
letting me share. Yes.
really quick, for anybody that just kind of cold reaches out about the program, I just want to be sure we're doing the job assistance request form to sort of initiate the process, correct?
Yes, thank you for sharing that. So we do have some, of course, residents that are not currently connected to an MOD or center or one of our partners programs. So basically, if someone was to reach out to you or reach out to, to the mayor's office, and that would get back to you via an email, we are requesting that they are redirected to the assistance request form. That form will then garner, determine eligibility, and then they would be connected to the proper staff to actually submit a referral. Unfortunately, I can't submit a referral to my own program. So when I get those requests, I kind of will help you guys redirect to the right staff to have a referral submitted. Sorry. Anything else?
I want to say amazing job, Nikki, also John and Lyft team. I know how hard everyone's worked on getting this together, but I also just want to say we're all ambassadors of all of our ARPA projects. This one also, especially every time someone hears about it, they're really excited about it. So it's really important to just learn all the eligibility requirements, learn how the program works so that when you encounter people that could benefit from this, you're able to talk about it and then connect them back to Nikki, because we're ambassadors of all of these projects that we're working on, and any of these things can be utilized to help our customers. That's it.
Thank you, Meg. Anyone doesn't have any more questions? I think I'm done. Thank you guys for letting me share.
Thank you, Nikki, so much.
Thank you.
Great
You're
job,
welcome.
Nikki
Nikki.
and
Thank
John.
you.
Great
Great
job, John.
presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't forget the survey.
Thank you.
All right, see you guys. Have a great day.